Welcome to That Entrepreneur Life, a podcast about entrepreneurship that takes you from idea to launch and beyond. Each week, your hosts, Andrew Lees and Clint McPherson, discuss different business topics aimed at adding value to any entrepreneur's journey.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of That Entrepreneur Life. I'm Andrew Lees, here with my co-host, Clint McPherson.
What's up, my man? Brother, I'm just excited to be here for another episode. So let's go ahead and kick this thing off by welcoming our special guest, Alex Sanfilippo, to the show. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Clint and Andrew, guys, I'm really excited to be here. That entrepreneurship life, man, that entrepreneur life that's where it's at. So I'm really excited to jump into this with you guys today. It's an honor to be here. So thank you so much.
Yeah, Alex, it's an honor to have you on the show today. But before we launch into everything, we think it's important for us to take a few seconds and introduce yourself and tell our listeners what you do.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm another podcaster. I actually met Clint at PodFest 2020, the only conference that happened in 2020, I think.
Yeah, so, right. And I missed it.
And you missed it. Andrew's just been in that same room the whole year, I think. So.
Yeah. Haven't left right here.
Yeah, so I actually went to that conference as a speaker and had the opportunity to share there. I've been in the podcasting space for a while. I've had a couple of podcasts. I've never stopped any of them. I haven't had like a pod fade happen, if you will. But my latest one that kind of put me on the map, if you will, is called Creating a Brand. I launched on July 2nd, 2019. It's an entrepreneurship podcast. That's why I'm excited to be here today. I love sharing on these podcasts. When you're the guy doing the interview, you guys know how it goes. You're the guy doing the interview. You don't necessarily get the opportunity to share a lot. So I always appreciate my audience loves when I share podcast episodes that I've been a guest on. So anyway, long story short, awesome. I've been in the entrepreneurship space. We built it up to a top 20 entrepreneurship podcast where I'm just taking people through a masterclass. So they're very focused episodes, a little bit shorter, but more so just, hey, let's give someone 5 tips for becoming a great conference speaker. Like how can they get booked? How can they find the right ones? How can they build up their reputation? And we'll just go through that with an expert. And that's kind of been the idea behind it. And I seek to be a person of value, not a person of profit. So the way I like to do things is how can I add the most value for my audience? And so beyond the podcast, I created an online community, which is also completely free. It's the Creating a Brand community at creatingabrand.com. People just join, and from there, we're all able to collaborate and help each other out. My purpose, I feel, in this digital space, digital content creation, because I have a background in blogging, podcasting, all the fun stuff, right? Mm-hmm. With that background, I feel like my duty is to help someone take their first or next step without wasting a lot of time and money in the process. Because you guys know there's a lot of tools that the world says that you need. But truth be told, you don't need all that stuff. So basically, I seek to be that person of value and just help people find that next step and be able to take it a little quicker and save some money. So that's what I do, guys.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, that really, sure. I mean, that really helps people, cut through all the BS and just, learn what's really what you really need to do. And that can save months or years of people's time, if they're just really learning from somebody who knows how to get from point A to point B, and then like, hey, just, do this. And it's not always like black and white, but, to have some kind of a roadmap with you is awesome.
Yeah. We had somebody who recently joined, and I don't know where she heard this from, but she went to some like branding conference, and whoever the speaker was telling her, or telling the audience, it was really important that your logo really stand out. Do a really good job on your logo. So she reserved $500 before she started anything to put toward her logo. And, I didn't talk her out of it, but me and some other people in the community, we commented on, we're like, hey, like maybe you shouldn't spend $500 before you launch your company on a logo. You're better off going to somewhere like canva.com, which is free, and just see if you can design your own. Actually ended up working great for her. She has like a natural ability to design. She created a beautiful logo for free and saved herself $500. And like, that's the type of thing that gets me excited when I can see that type of thing happening, and instead of just spending it. Because it might've been a great logo, but you don't need it that early on. You can build into those type of things.
Sure.
No. Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, I would agree 100%. I think those are just the things that, again, that when they're going through the process and they don't understand it quite yet, and they're hearing all this, they watch a YouTube video, they watch something on Facebook, and it's all about branding, or this, and then you have to reserve this for a logo, and you're like, dude, no, you don't. Like,
right.
Like just let it evolve. I mean, you might not even know what your logo wants to be yet, right? You might not have that in your vision. You might not even have a mission statement yet.
Yeah.
How about you develop and mold all of that to know where you're supposed to be? What is your genius? And then let the logo come natural.
Yeah. I think a lot of us, we want to compare our day one to someone else's year 20. We look at Amazon, we look at Nike, We look at Apple, these big companies been around for a long time. We're like, man, I've got to launch with that level of quality. And that's just not true. I mean, but I believe, talking about your guys' title here, like that entrepreneur life, like we have that perfectionist mindset a little bit. Like we want to be the best of the best. And I get that, but the best of the best doesn't mean that your branding is perfect. Because, our website's called Creating a Brand. And like, it's not the greatest thing you've ever seen, but that's not the idea of it. And I always encourage people to do this. Go to, I think it's called Wayback Machine. Like Internet Archive. Basically, you can look to see what websites looked like in the past. If you go look at Nike in the year 2000, which is the same year I started building websites, I was like a 12-year-old kid building better websites than they were building at that point. So it's kind of like, man, they'd even been around for a little bit, but you compare your day 1 to their day 20, you're always going to lose. So it's just a matter of getting out there, getting started, and seeing if you can actually add some value.
Absolutely. Yeah, not going crazy from the beginning when you don't know whether or not you really have a business yet. Figure that out first and then go from there.
Yeah.
So Alex, with all that said, man, can you take us back, talking about jumping in the time warp, right? And take us back to where your entrepreneurial journey started and what it is about entrepreneurship that you're passionate about.
Yeah, this goes way back, and I'll keep this real brief because I feel like everyone in the world has heard the story. I've run into people that are like, oh, I heard you talk about this golf ball business you had. At the age of 12, I started selling used golf balls. Like I grew up in a neighborhood that had a golf course on it. And I watched these golfers across the street from my house hitting balls in the water over and over again. I was like, I bet I could get those out of there. What if they won them back? And I set up like Post-it, 7th tee box. I still remember it. And we started selling, me and some neighborhood friends started selling golf balls back to the golfers and ended up making a lot more money than kids selling lemonade back then, like,
oh yeah.
So we started, it was funny. We would be bringing $100 each every Saturday morning. And for like a 10-year-old kid, it's like, dang, that's pretty nice, like that works pretty good. So so I started there, and it's funny, like it wasn't like a legitimate business. We didn't have like we weren't incorporated or anything like that. However, I learned that I really enjoyed business. Like I like the act of selling. I like the idea of a profit margin, thinking about how much time it took us to do that. Was it a good return on investment? Like actually thinking about that at a young age. It was the first time in my life that I realized I was good at something. Like I wasn't great at video games, wasn't a great musician. I wasn't good at school. I wasn't great at sports. Like all these things are like, man, I must be good at something. And I figured out was actually business. So I kind of got like the entrepreneurship bug at that point in my life. And I had jobs. Like I've not been the guy who's never had a job. I've actually been in aerospace, a senior executive for many years now. And I love the aerospace industry. It's a great place to be. But that's kind of where I got my start. And all the way through it, I've just kind of kept these same principles of continuing to grow my mindset of what it means to truly be an entrepreneur and business owner.
That's awesome. How did you get the golf balls, by the way?
We used, I don't know what they're called, but we call it like a golf ball retriever. It's probably what it's actually called, but it was like this thing that would extend to like 20 feet and it was just perfectly could scoop up a golf ball out of the lakes, and we would just use that. So, and then some of my other friends were a little crazier. They just get in the water and go for it. We made it happen, man.
There you go.
I was going to say, who
go get it.
Yeah. I was going to say, who jumped in the water?
Not me.
That's awesome. Yeah. And it must have been pretty clear water if you could just go in there and scoop it out. That's good. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, so Alex, on your website, on the About page, I noticed a note directly from you stating that many of us waste time and money while growing our brands, and that you wasted time that you didn't need to waste, leaving you feeling alone on your journey. Mm-hmm. I know that over time you were able to learn, gain traction, and grow. But how important is time management in everything you do as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because it really is key. So I was making mistakes early on just because I didn't have a community. I didn't feel like I did. I didn't even know where to look for that. And that's one of the main reasons I'm offering a community for free, is just so people can maybe not go through some of the heartache that I went through. And so for me, I was realizing I was making these mistakes. I was spending way too much time on them. Like I wanted the brand that looked like Nike, or that looked like Amazon or Apple, like those big names. I was like, it's got to look like that before I launch, or no one's ever going to be interested, which again, we all know that is a lie. Anyone who's listening who doesn't realize that's a lie, that is truly a lie. They didn't always look like that. That's going back to the comparison thing. But so I was wasting all this time, and like outside of that, like outside the direct work I was doing, I wasn't using my time efficiently anyway. So the little bit of time I had to devote, which was just like an hour or two a day, was going to the wrong thing. So therefore I made zero progress for what felt like years. And it honestly probably was years that I just wasn't making any real progress. And it wasn't until I began understanding the concept of, okay, I need to figure out what's important, because I can be the best at time management in the world. Like you, Andrew and Clint, you guys both know that. You can be the best time manager in the world, but if you're focused on the wrong thing, it doesn't matter, right? I mean,
absolutely,
what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
you can always feel busy with something. There's always something to feel busy with.
Yeah, and there's a lot of entrepreneurs that fall into that. They're just so busy. Like, oh man, I'm busy all the time. Like I don't have time to do anything. And my question to them is always, okay, maybe you're managing your time well and you are always busy, but are you focused on the right thing that's going to drive a result? Mm-hmm. So I think that the first thing when it comes to time management, you have to have a goal in mind. You have to start off with, what is the reason that I'm going to manage my time? Because if you're not managing your time, like if you are managing your time, what's the point of it, right? Like It's just being disciplined for the sake of discipline. Like that's not good. Like what you need to do is have a result in mind. So that's always where I tell people to start, is figure out what you really want to do. And we talked about it at the beginning here, is like, have a business plan, have an idea of your destination, of where you want to go, of the problem that you believe that you're going to be able to solve for people. You've got to start with that. From there, you begin manage your time around the end result and around the solution that you're truly going to offer. And again, the solution you're going to offer is not a pretty website. It's not a perfectly edited podcast. It's not a blog post with 0 errors. That those aren't the end result. The end result is, okay, what am I actually going to do to leave a mark on the world? So that's kind of a big explanation as to why time management. But if you guys like, I jump into a couple things that I've done to manage my time well, if that would be valuable for your audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Yeah, that'd be great.
Cool. So the way that I've managed my time over the years is definitely adjusted quite a bit. I'm a guy who has a 9-to-5 traditional job. I've worked in the aerospace industry for a long time, and it started off as a startup when I was in it, and it's grown to now a publicly traded company. We got bought out. I'm still part of the senior leadership team, but so there's 5 of us that are running the company. So I'm one of these 5 people. It's now part of a multi-billion-dollar organization. And but I've always kind of had the bug of, I want to be able to do something on the side as well. Like ever since it wasn't a startup, like as soon as I lost that feel, like every entrepreneur feels the same way. As soon as something loses its startup feel, you start itching. You're like, man, I got to do something, I got to do something. So I decided to start it. And that's when I was at first messing up with my time because I wasn't managing well, didn't have a vision in mind. And now I do. So I manage my time really well because people are always like, Alex, how on earth do you have a 9-to-5 job and you're creating a brand? Like that doesn't make any sense to most people. They just can't figure it out. And the truth is, I figured out that we have 24 hours in a day. If you all realize that, but there are 24 hours in every single day. And most people don't realize that. And the first thing that I'm going to say is I don't give up any sleep. I do not give up a second of my sleep. Because I think that a lot of people, yes, man. I've got one friend, hopefully he doesn't listen to this, but he has chosen for the last few years of his life to skip sleeping on Friday nights. So he will work from the time, not at all. Nope. He will wake up Friday morning and he will work until Saturday night when he goes to bed. And his wife and kids know you don't bother him from Friday morning till Saturday night. And he will stay up for, I don't know how many hours that is. It's like 36 hours or something like that, right?
That's
like
crazy.
He's not missed it in years. He's like, dude, I just go for coffee and then more energy drinks. And for me, I'm just not willing to do that because I think that really messes up your quality of life and your sleep pattern. Like it's unhealthy in my mind.
Yeah.
So I don't sleep is something that I take very seriously. So one of my big things is having an evening routine. And people always want to know about the morning routine, right? Everyone's always like, man, tell me the morning routine. Routine.
It's like, just get up.
It begins the night before. Your morning routine will only be as successful as what you do the night before. And I always tell people that because here's the deal. If you go out, you stay out all night, you're drinking, you're partying, you're doing all kinds of crazy stuff, you're watching TV all night, like your morning routine is already ruined. Like it doesn't matter what you do. It's not going to be effective. It's got to start the night before. So for me, I start 2 hours before I go to bed. I start fasting. So I'm not going to eat once I'm 2 hours before bed when that time hits. And I go to bed at 10 p.m. right now because before midnight is when you get your best sleep. It's got something to do with gravity and the moon, apparently. People have done some studies on it. You guys can look it up. But so I start 2 hours before bed and I won't eat anything. And then an hour before bed, I disconnect. So it's no more work, no more screens. I'm not watching TV. I'm not on my phone. All that stuff is put away. It's kind of time where I'll just hang out with my wife. We'll just relax, chill, anything basically that's like read a book, anything like that. And then I call it my morning prep work. So I want to succeed in my morning routine. So I actually lay out my clothes the night before. I'll make my breakfast the night before. I do everything that I'm going to do in the morning that's going to take any mental capacity because I want to save my mind. I don't want to have any decision fatigue. So I want to be able to make sure that, okay, the morning prep work is done as I call it. I do some light yoga, some stretching. That's really important to me as well. Just making sure my body's been moving. And then of course, brush my teeth and all that stuff like every good person should do. I floss every day. Come on.
Good. My wife would love that. She's a dentist. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Make sure she hears this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Andrew's friend Alex flosses every night.
Super important. Sleep and flossing.
Yeah. So, and then the next thing I'm doing after I'm kind of doing my hygiene stuff is that I look at my next day. So I have I have a written calendar. It's actually literally sitting on the desk right next to me. And I look at the things that I've already determined that I'm going to do that next day. I'll look at them, So when I go to bed, I'm not thinking, oh man, what am I supposed to do tomorrow morning? Or like, I think I have an appointment tomorrow afternoon. I'm not thinking that stuff. I look at it right before bed so I know. And then the very last thing is I just recite my purpose, the reason I'm doing what I do. And then I express gratitude. My wife and I, we just go through a list of things that we're thankful for that happened that day. And that's my evening routine, guys. That's what I do every single night. It's 7 things, and I go through them religiously, basically.
That's awesome.
For sure.
Yeah. I think that sets you up. I mean, it's a good point that it, what you do, before you go to bed is more critical than when you wake up, because the morning routine is just waking up. I mean, what you're doing in the morning, it's usually pretty simple. And the hardest part about it is waking up. And if you're super tired and you've been up till 12 or 1 in the morning, like waking up is going to be so much harder. And then your day could be totally shot. I had 1 or 2 of those last week. And they weren't totally shot, but man, they were a struggle the next day to really, get going. So
Alex, I like how you're just, you sit there, your lists are basically affirmations, right? I mean, you're sitting there telling yourself, your purpose still, right? You're reading off this. And I mean, that right there before you go to bed and having that being one of the last things on your mind is powerful. I think, especially when you're setting yourself up and you're like, I don't lose any sleep, right? So when you're reaffirming what your purpose is and you're sitting there and what you're grateful for, I think a lot of that positive energy, because that has to be positive, right?
Oh yeah.
You're not sitting there talking about what you're ungrateful for. So that positivity, as you go and lay your head on the pillow and as you close your eyes and doze off to go to sleep, I think that right there has so much power just in itself, just in the grand scheme of things. And it helps you probably, like you said, it's a thing that is something that you do religiously. You do it every night. And I'm sure, man, that has played hands over fists in your success so far.
Yeah. It's funny. Like I say religiously, and there's of course nights where, by the way, everyone who's listening, Alex Sanfilippo is far from perfect. So there are plenty of nights where this doesn't happen. Like I'm not saying it's a regular occurrence, but a few times a month, this just won't happen. And to Clint's point, it makes a huge difference when I'm not expressing gratitude. I'm not reviewing my purpose, but I'm not just doing those 2 things, like skip the rest of it. When I'm not doing those things, I go to bed and wake up in a different mood than I do if I actually do those things. Like feeding that positivity to yourself will cause you to sleep better and to wake up better. And it truthfully does, because as soon as I wake up, I'm thinking about that purpose already. I'm like, man, it's another day when I get to do my best to fulfill that purpose. And for the record, guys, I'm a night person. I love staying up until like 1 and 2 in the morning. I choose not to do it because I found that I get better sleep if I go to bed earlier. And I've set that alarm for 5:30, which I can get into my morning routine as well. It's really quick. But I wake up at 5:30 in the morning. I'm also not someone who enjoys waking up in the morning. But again, going back to remembering that purpose and the reason that I'm doing what I do, this is the cost. Like really, this is the cost of living a life on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it pays off, right? I mean, like you get to a point where you can look back and say all of that, sacrifice or whatever pays off. But then I think you also can get to a point where you don't even look at it as sacrifice, because it just, it gives you a better lifestyle as well. I mean, I think I feel the same way about like when I do get better sleep, when I am a little more regimented, and I do like to watch a little TV before bed sometimes, but just kind of wind down. But that's my guilty pleasure. But yeah, I mean, when the things that I do more on a routine basis that kind of set me up for success, really, like it feels better in the long run anyway. It doesn't feel like it doesn't usually feel like I'm giving anything up. So when you make it a lifestyle, when you make it something that like you're not just going to do for a few months or a couple of years, and you're like, I'm going to do this forever because it just makes me a better person and makes me better, helps me with business and gets me closer to my goal, then it's like a no-brainer.
Yeah. And the stuff I'm sharing like isn't, I'm glad you brought that up, because you mentioned TV at the end of the day. The 7 things I'm doing are not like, this is not what you have to do. I'm not saying you've got to do them. Yeah. Like if you need some time to decompress and TV is what does that for you, great. TV amps me up and I get wired. Like I'm super ADD. So like TV before bed, like I can't sleep. So I've just chosen not to do that, but like some other people, that's how they decompress, and that's fantastic. Then watch some TV before bed. I don't recommend like watching the news or anything super negative, because it goes back to what Clint was saying, that like you got to feed yourself that positivity. But like, for me, I always recommend people, hey, make 7 things. So that's what I do. Like I call this a framework. It's a daily 3x7. So I have like 3 different categories of my daily habits, my evening routine, my morning routine, and there's 7 things in each of those 3 categories. And I've designed it because it works well for me, but everyone's gonna have a different 7 things, if you will. But I always find that's kind of like the sweet spot.
Yeah, I mean, I would
Yeah,
agree.
makes sense.
I think whenever to our listeners, I mean, you have to find out what works for you, right? I mean, whether it's doing and setting up a process that Alex has, something, decompressing like Andrew, watching TV, whatever it is, whatever works for you at that given time, or whatever. And it takes trial and error, right? You didn't just happen to wake up one day and all these categories that you came up with,
Right.
7 steps, they just fell into place, right? It was things that you had to try, and there's some adjustment going on. And so everybody, like you said, it's not something it's not a must do, but it is very encouraged to try to find what works for you.
100%. Couldn't have said it better, man.
So Alex, man, let's talk about, I view time as gold, man. Right.
Yeah.
So because you mentioned, and if everybody's not tracking, we do have the same 24 hours in a given day.
Right.
And so we're all on the same page there. So when you're looking at maximizing every second, because every second to me, like I said, is gold, isn't important, especially for us as entrepreneurs. And with us as entrepreneurs, we're typically busy with scaling the growth of our businesses. And so that all the things that we have to put on the coat hanger or line up in order, the huge to-do list, I might want to say, if I can say it that way, that we allow to just get in our ways at times, right? Out of your process, what is the most effective thing that you've tried, or the most effective time management tip that you currently do that helps you? Is it something like, obviously I think not ensuring everything's perfect is a big holdup for people. Everybody wants to release that perfect thing, right? Is it saying no? Is it prioritizing? What is it, brother?
Yeah, I mean, prioritizing, like you said it there at the end. I mean, but I'll kind of explain the way that I've been able to do this. Is I love Getting Things Done by David Allen. His methodology that he shares is fantastic. He just has a few steps. Basically, his thing is anything that's in your head, get it out on paper. The way I interviewed him a couple of weeks ago, and the way he said it is that your head is a crappy office. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, we got ideas how often you guys have ideas, like for real, like an idea that hits, it's actually probably a pretty good idea. And you're like, dang, there's another one that's just like fantastic, But a lot of times the problem is we let that idea live in our head. And it's actually been scientifically proven that you cannot keep track of more than 4 things at one time in your head. Now, you might be able to bring it back to your memory at some point, but trying to do that creates a really, it's a crappy office. It's just your stuff piling up on what's your mental office. Yeah. So what he kind of preaches is to have some form of inbox where you put every idea as quickly as you can. And for me, I've just put a spot on I use my OneDrive. So I use, what is that? It's Microsoft OneDrive, I think, or something like that, whichever one it is. But so basically what I do is everything goes to a task to my email. So like I have a shortcut that I created on my iPhone. Click the shortcut when I have an idea. As soon as it pops in my head or something I need to do, I will send it to my email. And then when I get home, I'll organize that in this box. And then I'll prioritize it. And it's either 1 through 5. I'm like, which is it? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And that's my reminder of, okay, do I need to go back to this? Sometimes I have ideas for like, oh man, when creating a brand has 1 million listeners, it would be great to do this. Guess what? I don't need to think about that for a while. I'm just going to be a little humble here. Like it's going to be a little bit before I get there. So I put a number 5 on that and be like, you know what? I'm not even going to look at this. It's just going to sit at the bottom of the list for a while here. But when I get around to that, I'll remember. And then, the things are a 1. That's something that's going to hit my calendar. So it's all about, for me, is just clearing that mental space. So for me, people are always like, Alex, you have such a good memory. It's because there's nothing sitting there. Like that's my office that nothing is there. So when you tell me something, you're like, hey, will you remember this? Either I write it down right away, or it's the only thing I'm thinking about for the next couple hours, And that's why for me, the morning routine, kind of going back to that, is so important. Like I mentioned the night before, how I actually get everything ready for the morning after. Even if I'm going to go to the office, I go as far as backing my car in so I don't have to think about what's behind it. Like I take it seriously, guys. Like decision fatigue is a real thing. I do my best to not make a bad decision. And this is one of those things I had to learn over time. At one point in the aerospace company, I made a really very poor decision that I didn't need to make. Cost the company potentially millions of dollars. And it was just kind of like, because we're a big company, it was just a slap on the wrist. It was like, all right, come on, Alex, like, you know better than that. And the thing is, it was dumb and I didn't need to make that mistake. But the problem was I was thinking about so many other things that didn't matter that I made this mistake, just not even thinking about it. It just kind of rolled. It was just on that, in that crappy office. Like I'm thinking about 10 things right now, just do this and it'll be fine. And I held myself responsible for that personally. The company, again, no one really cared. But for me personally, I'm like, Alex, you're better than that. Like you don't need to be making mistakes like that. I wasn't trying to beat myself up. I just knew that there had to be a better way. And that's when I discovered David Allen's Getting Things Done, the GTD methodology as it's known. And I just decided, you know what, everything is going to get written down. So that's why every day I have a checklist. I have things that I'm setting out to do. And the rest of it is going to hit this list. And that's kind of the way I do it, guys. I just keep my head as clear as I possibly can.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it's really important to write things down. Actually, my grandfather used to tell me that all the time. He's like I would tell him something, an interesting idea, even when I was a kid, about something, he'd say, just write it down because you won't remember. Mm-hmm. And I think for a while I was like, oh no, I'll remember. And then, then you really realize that, even
you won't,
then, you never do.
Yeah.
So, it's super important. And if you can stay organized with those notes,
that's the thing. I've got it organized. That's the thing. And organization, if you guys don't mind, I'll mention that real quick as well. Have you guys ever, I don't know if you ever heard this book, but it's called Deep Work by Cal Newport.
I've never heard of it.
Phenomenal book. And he just talks about the concept of focused work. And I think the other thing that I would mention that has helped me excel so quick is the fact that I'm focused. So when I'm working on something, like I've decided this is my task for the day, this is really important. Mm-hmm. My cell phone is away from me, or it's off, or I have no notifications on. I'm not getting on social media. I don't have 6 windows up. I have the one thing that I'm working on in front of me, and I have that extreme focus for as long as I possibly can. I've learned to take breaks. I know where my limit is. And then when I need to get up and do something, but the problem that many of us have is we start working on something, but then it's like, oh, just got a text. Might be important. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, I should check my email real quick because I was waiting on this while I'm at it. And I wonder if, my mom posted anything on Facebook today. It turns into all that. Before you know it, an hour that was supposed to be really productive turns into 15 minutes of unfocused work because of everything else. So I think something that really sets me aside, people are like, how do you do so much? I'm like, I just do one thing. I just focus on one thing. And that's been really helpful for me as well.
And that's huge. That's huge because when you're talking about the David Allen book and the things that you lay out, it just reminds me of the prioritization and delegation matrix that's out there. Where you break it up into sections, right? Your 1 through 5 is almost similar to what they have laid out, right? It's the must-dos, which are the tasks that typically require your full attention, and they have serious repercussions for if it's not done or completed immediately, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have the should do. The should do is the tasks that require, your monitoring, but something that you can possibly delegate because there's no real serious repercussions with it. But, especially if it's not completed immediately, okay? And then the would do. The would do is the tasks that require your full attention and have moderate to no repercussions.
Right.
And so, and then the could do is the last one, right? Is the ones that is basically a task that has no immediate effect on anything, no repercussions, and something that you can delegate. And again, if it doesn't even get done, it doesn't even really matter, right?
Right.
And then I really think looking at the unstructured time. Because like you mentioned, health is a huge thing. And unstructured time is not exactly how it sounds or seems, but it's like the things that you've allocated to do nothing.
Right.
And then it's just like, what do you do with that time? Is it to watch the TV? Is it working out? Is it taking a nap? Like I know a 30-minute power nap for me during the day, especially when I know I have a lot of work to do, brother, it gives you that instant boost of energy if you can stay dedicated to it. And it's like, you can fight the world for like 72 hours then, right? It's like, I'm ready, let's roll. It's almost like the energy drink that never works for me. It just makes me feel like crap.
Right.
But I just think that's powerful, man.
Yeah, for me, it's working out. Like that's why I really value my sleep at night, by the way, is because when I take a nap, dude, I don't wake up like you. I wake up like, what happened? What did I miss? I feel like, I don't know if y'all ever watched The Office, but Michael Scott wakes up after like a sugar crash and he's like, what time is it? She's like 6. And he goes, AM or PM? And that's how I feel after taking a nap. I'm like, what day is it? Where am I? So for me, it's a quick workout. And I do a workout in the middle of my day because that's when I find it's the best. So I just do, sometimes it's a 30-minute workout. Sometimes it's up to an hour, however I'm feeling. But the thing is, it's just to energize my body. Like I'm not going for like serious gains right now. I'm just like, hey, can I stay fit and keep myself mentally sharp? And that's what works great for me. But I think it's cool that we have different things, Clint, that you just shared, because like it's important that we realize that it's not going to be the same for all of us. Like I don't want anyone to take notes from this today and be like, okay, Alex does these things, I'm going to do those things and it'll work for me. Honestly, it's not true. It's a matter of finding what works for you. And out of everything we're sharing, there's actually a quote that Tony Robbins says, and it says, if you want to achieve success, all you need to do is find a way to model those who have already succeeded. And, I'm sharing some things today from like David Allen, Cal Newport. We're sharing some other things as well. We didn't make this stuff up. We're just finding the things that work, that other people have done successfully, and we're implementing the pieces that really fit our personalities and just the way our DNA is structured, right? We're doing the things that actually work well for us. I think it's really important for the audience to keep in mind is you just got to find it and consider it part of your entrepreneurial life. Like it should be part of your entrepreneurial life. This is just a little thing that you have to do along with building a company. Because if you think of yourself in 5 years and you have like a massive company, the best thing you can do for yourself is be the best version of yourself and running at an optimal level, because you're going to need that at one point. Maybe like right now you can kind of slack off and do all that. But at one point, if what you're doing is going to grow, you need to be the best that you can possibly be for that thing.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, at some point people will actually count on you. You know, you might have employees who are relying on your business to succeed so that they can, live their life. And so there become larger consequences that, you just need to be, I agree, just the best version of yourself, whatever that looks like.
Right.
So, and then that can look very different for other people. That's very cool. Well, Alex, from, starting selling golf balls back to the golfers, which is awesome. So from that to, where you are now, what has been your favorite thing about being an entrepreneur?
Man, I think it's just using my creative mind. There's a quote that I say that I say this every time I speak publicly. I tell people that they have greatness and creativity within themselves. You have greatness and creativity within yourself. And I found that to be the most true thing. I believe that we're all created beings that were made to create. And when you can exercise that side of your mind, man, it's so beneficial. And I think that a lot of people, they don't realize, they're like, well, I'm not really creative. And yes, you are creative. Everyone is creative. It just looks different for each of us. Man, if you told me to I have 3 whiteboards behind me. That's all my wife's handwriting because no one can read my handwriting. And so I'm not an artist by any means, but you know what I'm good at? I'm great at building a spreadsheet that's going to tell me when I'm going to profit. That's creativity in my mind. And that's what it means for me. So I think the biggest thing that I've learned and the biggest joy that I've had is just being able to use my creative mind the way that it looks. And then just equally as important to me is I love helping other people discover that for themselves as well. Because a lot of people, they're like, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what my passion is. I don't know how to be creative. And helping people take that step and seeing that that ignite inside of them, it's like they came alive for the first time. That to me is the most motivating, beautiful thing that anyone can see. It's just incredibly part of.
I think when you look at it from that angle, which is very unique and is powerful, right? I think the creative portion of it is powerful because how I relate that to that is asking people to just think back when you were young, right? Where we had an imagination,
right?
Until we go through this, whatever your life was like but go back and see what you wanted to be when you grew up. Right? What you wanted to do with yourself and in the imagination from a lemonade stand or whatever it was to doing the golf ball thing. I mean, just go back to that time. You have a creative side because when you were young, you drew all the time. Right. But it's just helping them wake back up and saying, look, you've probably been disconnected from this for so long, but you need to find in whether it's through a coach or whatever it is, you need to find a way to tap back into that. And so I think that's what people have a bad disconnection because, again, from a young age, right, from age 1 through 7, everything that happens in your life is very meaningful and really shapes the way you believe going forward. And so I think a lot of people after that, they lose that creativity to some sense. Yeah. And then they go through life not knowing their meaning or purpose. And then again, it's just hard for them to find themselves, right? Because they go years and years without even trying to find what their purpose actually is.
Yeah, I believe that the world has a plan for each of us and it's not as great as we think. The world has a way of keeping you busy and always keeping you behind and never achieving what you really want to do. And it goes back to what you're talking about. When you're 1 through 7, that's foundational. And oftentimes the people that really find this creativity, they step back when they're like, man, I was talking about this when I was 6. My mom used to tell me I talked about this. It's true. Yeah. I interviewed and read a book by Rebecca Lyons. It was called Rhythms of Renewal. And her 4th one was Create. And she talked about when you're trying to create and you don't know where to even begin, ask your mom or your dad or look back at old pictures that you drew when you were a kid and start there. She became a best-selling, world-known best-selling author because her mom reminded her, oh, when you were a kid, you like to write. She was like, maybe I'll start writing and see what happens. Yeah. And boom, it was there. It's it doesn't happen that easy for everyone to go that viral necessarily, but go back to that because that's when you were creative. And, at first I wanted to be a Jedi and I wanted to be a cowboy and, there's something in there though. There was something in there at one point that actually made sense. And I think for me, it was that moment where I was like, wow, I really enjoy setting profit margins for my company at 10 years old, selling golf balls. I go all the way back to that, but everyone's got that. And it's important to go back to. And I recommend people get coaching, man. Honestly, if you feel like you can't find that for yourself, go to a coach, someone that you can listen to. I mean, some people look at that as a negative. Do that as a positive. If you can get someone to draw that out of you, and you're paying a couple $100 for it, like if it changed
Step
your life, is it
outside.
worth it? Right? I mean, it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. It lets you step outside of yourself and just kind of break free of, because a coach they see exactly what you need to do to sort of break loose without all of your distractions, so I think that's pretty cool. And that's a big distinction between kids and as adults. We have all these distractions, or at least we think we do, like we probably don't actually have as much to do as we think we do. And so we end up like, I mean, this will happen to me. I'll start being very creative and get excited about work. And it's almost like, oh, if I'm excited about it and I'm being creative, it almost feels wrong. Like, like I'm should be doing something else that maybe is actually, more productive, but really that creative, when you let the creative juices flow, you really can get a lot further along, and then it's just more enjoyable. So yeah, I think that's really important to tap into that.
Absolutely, man.
So Alex, man, you just answered one of the, the most effective or the most favorite, the favorite thing that you do throughout the day. Okay. So through your entrepreneurial journey, man, and from the highs and lows that we all go through as entrepreneurs, right? Whether that was in your business, the aerospace business or not, what has been the most difficult part of being an entrepreneur, man?
I think that it goes along with something that is both true and not true. So I'm going to kind of tread lightly here, but it can be lonely at times because you do have to make decisions to say no to, especially if you're someone with like a lot of friends or you like to go out and have a lot of fun. Sometimes you have to make that decision and be like, it's a beautiful day and I live less than 15 minutes from the ocean. I could go to the ocean, or I could work on building my business, which I haven't been able to devote any time to. And sometimes you have to make that decision. And full transparency, sometimes it sucks. Like, I'm the guy that sometimes knows, like, I've got to make that decision. And today it's the right one. You got people calling you like, come on, man, why don't you come out and why don't you hang out? I'm like, today has got to be devoted to the business. And I've got to stay true to that. I'd say that's the most difficult thing because you never want to feel like you're missing out on life. At the same time, it is kind of fake because there is an unlimited amount of things that you can do. Like, you will never arrive. Andrew and Clint, you guys both know that. Like, you will never arrive. Like, there will always be like, you could achieve all your goals and be like, cool, what's next? Like, where am I going?
Winning.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to always go. I believe we have to have a mindset of we're continuously winning and growing, but you have to also make that decision and be like, you know what, today I'm not going to work. Today I'm actually going to rest. And the hardest thing for me has been to truly take what I call a Sabbath. So one day off a week where I really refresh. And it's a biblical term, but it's been proven to be very effective. If you take that one day off, you can force yourself to do it. You're actually much more creative and stronger the other 6 days. And it's tough for me, really tough for me to actually be able to do that. And it's something that I've been fighting for. But I'd say that kind of combination is the most difficult part of what I do, is making sure that I'm making time to get out with friends, but also knowing when I shouldn't do that. And then making sure that I have that rest because of how important that is for us to really refresh and have that creative mind that we need.
I love it, man.
Yeah. So having that balance is really important. And
yes,
again, it can be different for different people because if you think about your why, and if your why was to get to a certain financial point in your life and you've achieved that, and of course you could always go further, but if you've achieved that and you're like, you know what, I wanted to get here. And then when I got here, I was going to take some time off, or I was going to, work half the time or whatever it is, or retire for 5 years and, travel around the world or whatever it is, if you know what that why was and you know what your goal was, then, then that all makes sense and you can have that balance. But if you're, and if you're continually, trying to achieve the next level and the next level, that's awesome too. It's super exciting to have that. But also, like you said, it's necessary no matter what your goal is, no matter what you're trying to achieve, that you have balance and that you figure out, how to rest, how to detox, take some time off and separate yourself so that you can get back to it even stronger and, more efficient than you were before.
Yeah. I think the big secret to that entrepreneurial life is that it's actually a journey, not a destination. I think a lot of us want to have the idea of like, I am going to hit X. And when I get there, then I'll have time for friends. I'll have time for a family. I'll have time for this. Yeah. The truth is, like, first off, you may never get there. I don't mean to be negative, but you may never achieve that. You could spend your whole life doing that, or you get there and you realize you're absolutely alone. And I know a couple entrepreneurs that have done extraordinary well. I mean, some people that literally have millions of dollars of passive income. They don't have to work ever again. They're some of the loneliest people I've ever met in my life. It took them 10, 15 years to get there, and they just neglected the rest of their lives. They didn't have friends. They didn't have, I'm not gonna say they didn't have friends, but they didn't like actually, pour into those friendships and develop them further. They didn't ever get into a relationship with they had like short-term relationships with different women that they liked. And then they're still this day, they're like, man, I wish I was married. It's like, well, you never had time for that. Like, I think the big thing we have to remember is, it's a journey. It's not a destination. You have to find a way to make every day of it enjoyable, which can be difficult. I'm the guy that can overthink this one. So I'm not like, I don't have this mastered, and I'm just being transparent with you guys here. I don't have this mastered, but the ones that can figure out this is a journey, I can go a little bit every single day, and eventually I'll get there. It's like, entrepreneurship is like taking the stairs, not the elevator. That's a great way to say it.
Definitely.
It's like taking the stairs, not the elevator. Like, some people make it really fast, but the majority of us, we've got to work hard. We've got to take the stairs, and it can be painful at times. It can be slow at times. But that idea of like, oh, I'm just going to work real hard, I'm going to take the elevator and get there as fast as I can, isn't the right way to go in my mind. And some people might not agree with that. Elon Musk does not agree with that at all. And he's far more successful than I am. But other people that really want that quality life, that I think at the end of my life, when I look back, I'm going to be like, you know what? I invested in my relationships. My wife and I had a great relationship. My friends, I was always there for my friends. I have great memories of that. That's more what I want than being like, I achieved millions and millions of dollars of success. I actually want to be able to say that, you know what? I was a person of value, not a person of profit.
Definitely. And I think that helps your business. And I think you have to assume this is a pessimistic outlook on it, but I think it's kind of important. I kind of think this way sometimes, where I assume that I won't get to, like, I don't assume, but I imagine what happens if I don't get to where I'm trying to go with business. And would I ever want to give up the rest of my life for maybe not getting there, And I think, and I think we actually do, and we kind of talked about this a little bit before, but we kind of do have more time than we thought we had. So we actually can spend some more time with friends and family and have more free time to enjoy our lives, and also, build really successful businesses. So
at the end of the day, though, it's all about spending your time wisely, right? No matter how trivial or important that task or activity is, because they all affect our overall time management. So finding your purpose, being creative, and spending your time wisely, I think and finding out what works with you for the time management portion of it is just spot on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Alex, as we wrap up this episode, I want to ask you one last question. Is there one piece of advice or tip that you could give our listeners to add value to their entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, I think that the audience today, you guys are listening to Clint, you're listening to Andrew, you're listening to Alex Sanfilippo. Like, we've seen some success, like we're doing well. And I want to remind you guys that, like, if you're feeling inspired by this, or some people, they listen to time management stuff and like, oh, I've wasted so much time. Here's the thing. And this is a quote that I love. The best time to plant a tree was 25 years ago. The second best time is today. So yes, you should have started this 25 years ago, like all of us should have. But the truth is, the second best time is today. So don't beat yourself up about like what you now need to do and wish you could have done a long time ago. You guys, if I could go back 25 years, how much more successful I would be right now. Like, we could all say that, right? So I think I want to remind people that, like, hey, although 25 years ago is the best time to start doing something, if you do it today, it is the second best time, and you're gonna be able to go really far with what you're doing today. So I just want to encourage everybody, whatever it is that you have like now planned in your mind, whatever creativity is kind of spinning, start today and don't look back. Look forward and say, what kind of future can I build starting today? Because here's the deal. In 25 years from now, that tree that you're planting today is going to be beautiful.
That's awesome, man.
I love that.
I mean, well, guys and Alex, I think that's a wrap for episode 15, brother. From the both of us, we want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us and adding value to what we're doing on this podcast.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for having me. This was an honor.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening to That Entrepreneur Life. To learn more about what Alex is working on, check out creatingabrand.com. If you like what you heard today, make sure to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or any other major podcast directory. You can also find us on all the socials and on our website at thatentrepreneurlife.com.
With that said, we will also want to quickly give a special shout out to our family and friends, guys, and to include all of our listeners, our followers, and subscribers. If you find value in our show, guys, please consider making a donation. Even just a few dollars helps us keep things moving along and helps bring value to your and our entrepreneurial journey. Thanks for continuing to support what we do as entrepreneurs. And don't forget to join us next week, guys, for another episode of The Entrepreneur Life.
Thanks for listening to That Entrepreneur Life podcast. Be sure to visit thatentrepreneurlife.com to join the conversation, access our show notes, and discover our fantastic bonus content. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode as we continue to add value. Until next time.